Well, Mayor Barrett, Council President Hines, Director Tobin, thank you for your supportive words. Thank you, members of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, for the renewed support and confidence that you have expressed in me by appointing me to a second term. I said it 4 years ago. I say it again today. I will not let you down. Now, as we spoke earlier, just a few miles from where we stand today, Officer Voracek lies in a hospital bed recovering from the injuries he received on Christmas when his squad was struck by a reckless driver. His courage in recovery is indicative of the type of people that work for this police department. Twice a year, the Milwaukee Police Department recognizes the courage of its officers. It has been my privilege to award our brave men and women 7 Medals of Honor, 12 Purple Valor Awards for wounds received in action, 12 Combat Valor Awards, 31 Rescue Valor Awards, 42 Life-Saving Awards, 31 Rescue Valor Awards, and literally hundreds of other awards for excellence in police service, distinguished service, and meritorious service. Because of them, because of their courage and competence, their integrity and their leadership, their respect and restraint, the city of Milwaukee is a demonstrably safer place than it was 4 years ago. You won't see their pictures on the front page of the newspaper. You won't see a multi-part article explaining their exploits to the community. But you will see them on the streets of your neighborhood protecting you every single day. I am proud of them. Every family member of theirs should be proud of them. Every neighbor, every resident of this city is proud of them and should be. Now, 4 years ago, standing in these chambers, I made some bold promises. I promised that we would reduce the levels of crime, fear, and disorder in the city. I promised that we would be community-based, problem-oriented, and data-driven. I made a series of commitments to the department, to its commanders, to its supervisors, to its working cops. And I made commitments to our community as well, that we would be accountable and accessible and responsive to their needs. Now, why was I so confident? Because I know and respect cops. As you just found out, I'm related to a few. Now listen, the Milwaukee Police Department had been through some hard times. There appeared to be some estrangement between it and some of its neighborhoods. It had taken some hits. Violent crime was a nagging problem. Technology was either obsolescent or awaiting implementation. But I knew I could count on the cops. I could count on their fundamental sense of duty, their ideals. I knew also that within the ranks of the department were people waiting for the chance to show what they could do, waiting for the opportunity to put the agency they had devoted their lives to on the path to greatness. I said we were going to get to work, and we did. The men and women of your police department stepped up, and they stepped it up. Dramatic changes occurred in a dramatically brief period of time. And dramatic results have been achieved. Every single year, there has been a reduction in the overall crime rate in this city. For 20 years, the average number of murdered Milwaukeeans was 127. In the past 4 years, that average has been 81. The Milwaukee Police Department, working with its community partners, has reduced the number of violent and property crimes in this city by 17,000 in just 4 years. Now, this has not been an accident. A department full of hard-working, talented people committed to their community made it happen. 4 years ago, I said that the measure of our success would be results, not activity. We've made deliberate choices. The public spaces had been abandoned to criminals. The only way to take them back was to create time for officers to be proactive, not just reactive. Rapid response to non-emergency calls would have to be secondary to saving lives, preventing crime, and reclaiming public space. Foot patrols were dramatically increased. Bicycle patrols were doubled. Every squad had to do at least 1 hour of a park and walk. Roll calls in the streets were conducted. Officers now had time to stop suspicious vehicles and confront suspicious pedestrians. Has there been a slight increase in the average response time? Yes. In the meantime, motor vehicle stops increased by 243%. Pedestrian stops increased by over 300%. I believe it's reasonable to assert that that activity just might have something to do with our reduced crime rates. But for officers to be proactive, they had to have accurate and timely information. They needed the technological tools to maximize their effectiveness. So the computer information system, with the help of a committed private sector, was completely overhauled. As a result, for the first time in its history, MPD has access to up-to-the-minute crime data on a daily basis. Every day, crime analysis meetings take place discussing patterns and trends of crime, and uses that information to adjust deployments and identify emerging problems. There are 5 times as many in-squad videos as there had been. Rapid ID units have been installed in the squads to enable us to immediately identify who a suspect is. Special vehicles have been assigned to the districts, equipped with a technology that allows them to scan hundreds of license plates every hour, looking for wanted individuals and recovering stolen cars. Finally, an obsolete radio system has been replaced by one that is state-of-the-art. Now, our implementation challenges have been well documented, but the fact remains that we stand as the first major city in the United States to have implemented such a system, while at the same time making sure that every single officer in a field assignment has an individual radio, another first for the department. Now, I promised the community we would reorient ourselves to their needs. We redrew the district boundaries to align more specifically with neighborhood boundaries. We've reorganized the Criminal Investigations Bureau along geographic lines to reinforce our community policing efforts. An emphasis on neighborhoods, coupled with the production of more useful analytical data, has enabled us to focus on the 10% of offenders who commit 50% of the crimes and the 10% of locations that generate 60% of our criminal activity. We've reorganized and created a neighborhood task force made up of formerly specialized units that were self-deployed. Using data now to guide their deployments, the NTF has become a vital part of our crime-fighting efforts on the streets of this city and a crucial component of our district-based response to crime and disorder. Now, while significant strategic and technological change was introduced and implemented, so too was organizational change. We have committed ourselves to the notion that every officer must be a leader. The principle of dispersed leadership requires that every officer accept their responsibility not only for their own actions, but for the actions of their peers. It requires all of us to recognize that we're each responsible for our morale, that each of us is responsible for the reputation of the Milwaukee Police Department. The introduction of the leadership and police organization model has been a driver of internal cultural change. Coupled with policy modifications and the introduction of a code of conduct that's based on values, our core values, We have seen improvements in the professional behavior of our officers. Citizen complaints, despite a vast increase in proactive police activity, have declined nearly 40%. Use of force incidents have been decreased by 9%, and vehicle pursuits have declined 66%. All are tributes to the discipline and restraint of our officers, as well as showing the high degree of public support that their efforts enjoy in the community. Now, when I took command of this agency, I not only knew that I could count on the cops, I also knew I needed to depend on my supervisory and command officers. I relied on my experience once again that within every department there are those commanders waiting to get it right. So from the very beginning, I didn't just empower them in some theoretical sense. I gave the specific strategic direction and told them to develop the tactics. They would implement the vision with the tools at their disposal. Working hard and late into many nights, it was those officers in the command ranks who operationalized and legitimized our strategy. Our success is due, in large part, to their tenacity and sincerity of purpose. Now, the days of Lone Ranger policing are over. No police department can be effective for long without viable and active community and government partners. Our officers have forged productive collaborations with numerous community-based organizations. We believe the community prosecution partnership that has evolved and matured with the Office of District Attorney Chisholm is a national model. We believe that our partnership with the Milwaukee Department of Neighborhood Services Special Enforcement Section is another national model for problem solving and nuisance abatement at the neighborhood level. Your Milwaukee Police Department has achieved national prominence in a very short time. For example, representatives from numerous police departments, including Detroit and Minneapolis, Oakland, and Austin, have come to our police headquarters to look at our daily crime briefings and examine our CompStat processes. We are currently part of a project with the Urban Institute, studying how to employ field stops in a way that doesn't endanger community support. John Jay College of Criminal Justice is working with us on an offender reentry project. Harvard's Kennedy School of Government recently published a document referencing our reorganization of the Detective Bureau in support of community policing. Yale University Law School, funded by a Bureau of Justice Assistance grant, is in Milwaukee working with us to study how a police department builds community trust in order to co-produce neighborhood safety. Finally, both the Police Executive Research Forum and the International Association of Chiefs of Police have applied for major justice assistance grants using the Milwaukee Police Department as their research partner. Now, I promised much 4 years ago, but the men and women of this police department delivered on those promises and much more. Their and your police department is more effective, more community-based, has more community support, is more technologically advanced, more transparent, more engaged with its neighborhoods, more restrained in the use of force, and the subject of less complaint than at any time in recent history. Be proud of your sons and daughters. They deserve no less. Now, the MPD vision statement is a Milwaukee where all can live safely and without fear, protected by a police department of the highest professional and ethical standards. Our mission is that in partnership with the community, we will create and sustain neighborhoods capable of sustaining civic life. The control of crime, fear, and disorders are but means to that crucial end. We know we're not done. We'll never be done. But we will never stop improving. We will never stop trying. We are the police, and this city depends upon us. There's still too much crime. There are still too many victims. In too many neighborhoods, fear still reigns. But we are here for you. Milwaukee faces challenges. We Milwaukeeans will face them together. We can't count on federal support. We can't count on state support. We can't count on anyone but each other. Now, I'm grateful for the financial support shown by Mayor Barrett and the Common Council. Because of their efforts, MPD has an academy class, while many other similar cities to ours are currently laying police officers off. I pledge to you that we will deliver you results and be prudent stewards of the public trust and the public purse. To the residents of Milwaukee, I pledge the department to continued partnership. Where there is crime, we will be there. Where there is fear, we will be there with you. Where disorder threatens, we will be your partner. We will never abandon you. Every man and woman in this police department pledges to put themselves in harm's way on your behalf. Much has been done. Much more needs to be done. And we're going to do it together. Now let's get back to work.